You are given an opportunity to end hunger, starvation, a global problem. Would you do it? Then, would you still do it if I told you that all it would take is a seed and a little bit of hope? Or now, what if it would take thousands, no, millions of dollars? Would you still do it? This decision is called the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, where a poor young man climbs up a beanstalk to a magical land and saves his family from starvation. A tale that continues to be told to little children, a tale of wonder and surprise. These tales passed down from generation to generation are still alive because they are more than just a happy ending. They teach us values, morals, vices that continue to plague us. These of which are reformed across spaces and time, adjusting to voice the concerns of the milieu. But wait, before we can go into anything, we must take a quick look at the most classic version of Jack and the Beanstalk. It goes like this. Jack exchanges his cow, milky white, for seeds which can grow right up to the sky, as claimed by an old man. His decision is reprimanded by his mother, who cries angrily and chucks the seeds out the window. The next day, however, the seeds have sprouted, and surely enough, they do reach far into the sky. Jack climbs the beanstalk and enters the land of the giants, who are portrayed as evil, enemy, foreigner others. In discovering their great wealth, he decides to take valuables from the giant's land to feed his mother and himself, which he does many times before he is chased down the beanstalk by the giant. Luckily enough, however, Mr. Giant falls after they cut the root, allowing them to live with newfound wealth, happily ever after. Sure, Jack's risky and stubborn decision is repaid tenfold to him, and his thievery is understandable. We'll talk more about this soon. But aside from it being this fantastical story of overcoming the odds, can you relate to it? No, not really, right? I mean, how could you relate to this fairy tale that is hundreds and thousands of years old? Rather, we might now think that there is a veiled darkness to the story. What happened to the giants, and did he not commit a crime? To explore these concerns, Jim Henson's movie Jack and the Beanstalk: The Real Story follows a modern-day Jack, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company who uncovers the corruption behind his riches and is forced to take responsibility for his bloodline's crimes. While in the fairy tale the giant falls to his death, the movie offers an alternate ending, where the giant is still alive until murdered by the hands of Jack's mother. This appropriation enables Henson to explore the consequences of Jack's thievery and the mother's murder within the values of contemporary society. Moreover, through its seamless integration of a minor narrative, a telling of the original fairy tale as an experience of many generations ago, proven untrue by the giant's perspective, this movie is a masterpiece for its exemplary ability in demonstrating to the audience how stories are adapted across varying contexts. But why were these changes made to the story? The fairy tale, informed Jacobs within the context of 1860s, was present in a time where hunger and poverty were real problems. Many individuals at that time struggled to obtain basic human necessities. They had to scrape and take whatever they could get. Yet, as a tale of hope, told to Jacobs around the time of the Eureka Stockade at the end of 1854, this story implies that those who are brave, hopeful, and willing to take risks are always rewarded, or at least apprises us of their idealization of fortune and luck. Thus, texts produced in this milieu concern themselves with the survival-driven acts of desperation that people are capable of and the inherent hope for a future, that things will work out and that they can overcome the odds. As a manifestation of the fairy tale, the American-produced movie is born from a more advanced contemporary society, one of which has been developed enough to allow more people to work and gain some form of financial security. During the time, the American economy had been in an economic recession, with hopes of stabilization and return of the monetary value with a boom. Thus, at the forefront of our concerns are now not poverty or starvation, but monetary issues such as capitalism and returns of financial investment. To translate this into the movie, we observe the consequences of the past, 1611, Jack's selfish decisions on the modern-day Jack, 15 generations after, through insights into the lives of giants and a whole new portrayal of them, rather than the evil human-eating creatures illustrated many times in the fairy tales by the dialogue, "Fee fo fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman."
Alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread.
The giants of the movie are represented as empathetic, gentle, and caring. In this representation, we realize that what to fear is not the giants, the foreigner others, but our society, us, and humanity, the immorality we are capable of doing, and our ability to wrong others in the name of survival or those we care for. The movie also expertly subverts the idea of Jack being a good, even heroic, archetypal fairytale character to a thief and the mother a murderer, criticizing the fraught actions of Fairytale Jack with its unrealistic ending while also shedding light on the faith and belief he had in the seed. When our basic necessities of food and shelter are met, we are allowed the opportunity to consider our interactions and relationships with others. Hansen utilizes a change in context and borrows from the fairy tale to parallel a scene, the offering of the seed, in order to criticize our willingness to enact change, to reflect and improve upon society, while revealing the driving influences of money on individuals' decisions. Modern-day Jack is loaded, so when this has-it-all Jack is offered seeds that can end global starvation without any need to do anything aside from investing his money to support the cause, you'd expect him to cooperate, no? I mean, he has money rushing in and people look after his health. Well, he doesn't. Instead, he chooses to hoard his honestly seemingly infinite wealth and declines scientist Vegan's offer, not an old man, a scientist. He says,
The company has over 30,000 employees worldwide. Starving nations aren't going to pay their salaries.
Because this modern-day Jack believes, too, like we would, that global hunger is insurmountable to a seed. But what has made us so fixated in believing that problems are out of our hands, that we are alone are not capable of ending them, even though we were the root cause of them? Well, as the consequences of our actions naturally multiply to affect more people than those originally involved, individuals have amassed global issues into wicked problems, dilemmas of which are unsolvable in nature, since we believe we are lacking key information or means to do so. We believe that these solutions are too good to be true, and if it was that easy, why hasn't someone else done it sooner? With this, the movie exposes and criticizes the reluctance of those with power and money to actually do anything about global problems, offering a reason as to why they may act in such a way or how they may escape from these mindsets. That being, taking the risk, having faith and trust, and choosing action over inaction, just as the modern-day Jack does do in desperate situations. He plants the seed, finally, to reach the Giants' land and before he gets executed by the Giants, given that it took him until he was pretty much out of options, desperate for something to work for him on both sides, but action nonetheless. His previous hesitation in the seeds explicitly represents the doubt we as a society now have, since we understand that some exploit others and capitalize wealth. This, alongside the influence of our morals, jaded minds, and cynical assumptions of others' intents, forces us to realize that our reluctance to simply put trust and faith in things is what restricts us from having solved aforementioned seemingly wicked problems such as famine. Thus, while the fairy tale offers an empathetic value to Jack's decision, whatever he did, it was necessary for him and his mother, the movie heavily criticizes the immorality of it. The same actions of greed in the past are interpreted differently to those in the present, since life is no longer about the struggle for survival but monetary values such as capitalism and exploitation, due to shifts in context and values which inherently influence how actions are perceived or interpreted. Through realizations of the ultimate consequences of Jack's actions, the movie adapts the fairy tale into a sort of warning on how our immorally obtained securities and basic necessities have to be acknowledged and repaid. Note, however, that despite their differences, the two texts speak to each other. What the new Jack has, money, rationality, and moral character, the old needs, and what the old Jack has, faith, hope, belief, and trust, the new needs. As Shakespeare says, the past is prologue. Through stories, we are provided an opportunity and a means to learn of mistakes of the past. Then, through reflection of our contemporary society, we realize and concretize the values we must uphold. The hope and trust evident when we are desperate is what we must retain in order for us to press forward.
You have the resources to make a difference. You just don't care about anyone but yourselves.